Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic is going to be, it's not just one thing, it's cumulative. All right? So, I'm going to get to that in a second. Allow your breathing to slow down. Let the tension out of your body, your shoulders, your neck, your abdomen, so that the breathing just takes on a natural, slower, deeper pace. All right. Hope you're all doing great. So, it's not just one thing. It's cumulative, meaning it's lots of things. So what am I talking about? What do you mean it's? What's it's? The creation of the symptoms is not just one thing. And the solution is not just one thing. It's a bunch of stuff, right? In other words, the perception of danger. It's not just one danger. It's the kind of build-up and overwhelm of danger. Life's getting a little crazy. Work is tough. Relationships are tough. Parents pass away. Animals pass away. Friends are found out not to be so friendly. And we have lots of different life stressors going on. And inevitably, many of us, most of us, can pinpoint the onset of symptoms to be during or after a really stressful time in our lives, right? So I do believe Sarno was right that emotions, the negative emotions, and even some repressed emotions can be the onset, right? He was brilliant. Sarno was right. The brain was perceiving the emotions as they were getting close to consciousness as the danger. But it's not just that. There's plenty of people who have symptoms come up due to physical stuff, meaning they had a true injury, but they freaked out about it and they focused on it so much that the fear and the attention made the pain or the symptoms from the injury persistent or chronic. Other people have surgeries for legitimate reasons, but they're so freaked out about it and so worried that maybe I won't heal that the fear and the attention they gave to the post-surgical pain kept it around. And then the decision that many folks make is they messed up my surgery, they botched it, and now I've got a bad knee, shoulder, neck, back, whatever. Perceived danger, the belief that the injury or surgery didn't heal. So I think perceived danger can take on a number of forms, but underlying is a lot of fear. Something's going wrong. I'm in trouble, right? So it's not just one thing that can cause symptoms or keep it going, but it's also not just one thing that can turn it off. All right. I have a lot of people go, Dan, I'm living my life, but the symptoms are still here. So essentially insinuating this stuff doesn't work, Dan. I'm living my life. I'm not stopping anything. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing my work. I'm taking care of the house and the kids, or, I'm doing life, but the symptoms are still here, Dan. So this doesn't work. It's not just one thing. It's all of it. So take an inventory. What are you perceiving as unsafe in your life? Sometimes it's our own self-judgment, our own self-critical thoughts of not being good enough. Did a video a few days back of, creating, self-esteem. That's, in essence, improving or changing it, right? Super important. There can be any number of things that your brain is feeling unsafe about. And it's not just one thing. And even if the emotional stuff makes sense and you can kind of pinpoint and go, yeah, I was in a highly emotional, stressful, tense period of my life, That's when I, quote unquote, threw my back out, which you didn't. You just had an acute onset of TMS, perceived danger pain. But even if that's the case, some people spend months or years looking for that one offending emotion, that one offending event, experience, or trauma. And they're expecting that once I find that one thing, poof, everything goes away. It's not one thing. It's cumulative. It's all things that the brain perceives as dangerous, which might overflow that bucket. So the analogy is, imagine a bucket, and your brain's like stress, tension, fear, money, relationship. Somebody's sick, somebody may have passed. Animal's sick, animal may have passed. Surgeries, medical events, legitimate ones. And all of that stuff gets thrown in a bucket. At some point, the brain is going to say, too much, overflows, fills the bucket, overflows the bucket, and then symptoms start. Then we get medicalized. Then we go to doctors and treatments and specialists and more doctors and treatments and specialists. Over and over and over again. And then we hear perhaps some diagnoses. And sometimes we're even told to our face, that's not curable. You'll have that the rest of your life. Stop listening to those people. Just because they don't have a solution doesn't mean there isn't one. Because I'm here to tell you, lots and lots of people who were told they have some incurable thing, I'll use that term, got better anyway. You don't have to accept the prognosis that you can't get better, right? But it's not just one thing that caused it, and it's not just one thing that's the solution. And if there is one thing that causes it, and one thing that's the solution, danger in general is the cause. Safety is the solution. So maybe we can, if we go up to a high enough level, 50,000 foot view, one thing, perceived danger, is the cause. And one thing, teaching the brain safety, is the solution. But unfortunately, instead of looking at the high level, so many of us get caught up in the weeds with the microscope, looking for that one little thing. What's the one thing that caused it? What's the one thing that's keeping it around? What's the one thing that's going to cure me? Some people believe it's, well, I have to do X, Y, and Z. So it doesn't matter how well you do things like meditate, journal, somatic tracking, affirmations. If your core program is, I'm broken and this isn't going to work, you still have danger at a high level. So evaluate what might be making you feel unsafe, either physically, mentally, emotionally, or about this recovery process and your ability to do this, or about yourself. Because you can be doing lots of things right, but if you're still going around beating the crap out of yourself because you think you're not good enough, that you're less than, that's danger. And I'm not saying we have to fix everything that could be perceived as dangerous in our life. I have lots of people go, but Dan, the state of the world, I'm not safe. So how can I get better? And let's pull this back a little bit. We don't need universal global safety for everything, for everybody. But for the things that are within our influence, our emotional health. Do we feel safe emotionally? Do we feel safe physically? Have we accepted the fact that perceived danger is what's creating the symptoms, that your body's already okay, right? Are we in a relaxed body, comfortably breathing, kind of like I do in the beginning of many of these videos, right? That creates physical safety that goes right to the subconscious. Do I feel mentally safe? Am I tortured by my own thinking? Or do I allow the thinking to float by without much angst, without taking those thoughts so seriously? Am I responding to symptoms as if they are horrible or an annoying false alarm? Right? Kind of like the smoke detector in the kitchen. You know for sure you're in the kitchen. There is no fire. You just kind of burnt some stuff on the skittle, and it sounded the alarm. Unfortunately, with things like chronic pain, chronic symptoms, that alarm gets turned on, and then due to our fear and our attention and the medicalization, the trauma from the medical system failing to fix us, things that don't work, a feeling and being told you're busted and it's not getting better, all those things cumulatively add up to a brain that's on high alert, highly vigilant, and not likely to turn down the symptoms. It's our job, your job, my job to help you teach, not heal, teach the brain that all those misperceptions are not actually dangerous. So take an inventory of what feels unsafe for you. Write them out. And ask yourself, how many of those are true? And if there are some that are true, ask yourself, is that within my control? And if not, like things like world events, politics, wars, look, there's some difficult things going on the planet right now. But we don't need all that to be perfect for us to get well. We need to be able to control the things within our influence. How do we respond to symptoms? Are we engaging more in life? Am I feeling safe emotionally, physically, mentally? Am I treating myself well? Or am I beating myself up and judging and criticizing myself? See how all those things are within my realm. What I'm going to encourage you to do is, if you look at that list of things that you believe are unsafe, Dan, I really might lose my job. I'm not safe. That could really mess up my life. I get it. Now let's separate life events, life stress from, do I really need to have absolute job security, for example, in order to feel safe physically, mentally, emotionally? Nope. You're resilient. You're resourceful. You'll figure it out. I lost a job in my mid-40s. Got divorced in my mid-40s. Life was kind of turned upside down. Still got better because I was able to separate the fact that, okay, job, relationship, not very safe, but emotionally, physically, mentally, and knowing with certainty that my pain was not because I was broken. It was just because I had all of these cumulative things going on that created this overflow of the bucket. Separate these things in your life from the cause of the symptoms. They're not. The perception may be that they are, but make a decision that I can have all sorts of life stress going on, but I don't need to hurt, right? So I'm going to wrap this one up here. I hope this makes sense to you. It's not one thing. It's all things. It's cumulative. But the good news is, when you start to go up the ladder to a higher level and start looking at a 50,000-foot view, it does boil down to one thing that causes and keeps symptoms persistent: the perception of danger. Perception is a key phrase. And there is one thing at the highest level that will lead to turning off all these symptoms and pains, and that is safety. So, don't get caught looking in the weeds for the details and the one thing, little thing, that's going to open that lock. Focus on the high levels. How can I teach my scared, misinformed brain that I'm okay? Teach, not heal. There's nothing to heal. Your body's okay. So I love you. I'm going to wrap this one up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.